Hi everyone. So as I said, we are doing a brief video going over the case study responses. So that's what this video is. This is the generic instructions. So going forward, all 10 case study responses you are going to do are going to follow the same basic structure that we're going to be talking about in this video. So, you don't see it yet because at time of recording I haven't made the folder live, but in week 2 there is this document called Case Study Response Generic as well as Case Study Response 1. We will look at both of those in this video. The Case Study Generic Response I believe also can be found in the course specific content. Look at that. Case Study Response Generic. So, let's look at those instructions first so we get a general idea. So, a key part of understanding law, as well as criminal law, is understanding how cases begin, how they're processed, and how they are concluded. In legal studies, this is done via the case study. And this is what we talked about at the end of our first week lecture, where an individual goes over all the details of a case, including background, evidence, sentencing, and they reflect on the process and discuss potential issues and results, as well as recommendations. As this is an introduction level course in criminal law, like you are not taking this class and then going to become a lawyer, that's still a lot of school. You do not need to complete an actual entire case study. However, what this is doing is getting you used to that process, getting you used to looking at court documents, getting used to understanding how these things work and all the details of that. So these are a micro level of a case study. So for your response, I'm giving you court cases that you're going to look over and review. They are judicial opinions. We'll talk about them. Like I said, we'll look at the first one together so you get a general idea of how it will look. You will then write a brief 3 to 5 paragraph response to that case in particular. I'm asking for 3 to 5 paragraphs. I give you specific questions to address in each one. Again, we'll look at that. It will be broken down to an intro paragraph, response paragraph, and conclusion paragraph. So you need at least an intro and a conclusion, and then however many responses to answer those questions. Your intro should include some basic background information to show that you understood what the case was about and who all were included in the case. I want to know things like who was being charged with the crime, what were the names of the individuals, the judges that were involved, things like that. You will also, this is usually traditionally demographic information. Your response paragraphs will ask you to look at the case overall and answer some particular questions regarding the case. Those are the questions I'm posing to you. Those are the body paragraph, okay? You will also examine how the case was resolved, as this is often a point in which you will explore more in a traditional case study. So for our purposes, I want you to be able to look at a judicial opinion and be able to see what were the facts of a case and what were the outcomes. Okay? Finally, in your conclusion paragraph, I want you to provide some insight into your opinion on the case and reflect on what you took away. So please, hear me very specifically. The introduction should be going over the basics of the case. The response paragraphs should be answering the questions I ask, and the conclusion should be you talking about what do you think about the case? What's your opinion on it? What do you think could have been different, could have been done better, things like that, and what you took away from this case. I'm looking to see what you are learning from looking at these cases. This should be fairly brief, and it should connect back to the content of the week that we covered in class. So here's the big thing. These are only worth 10 points. They're not big. So it's important to be as thorough and accurate as possible. Spelling and grammar does count for these, so make sure you proofread before submitting any. This is an official link to a how to write a case study guide if you're interested in the nitty-gritty of a full one, but that's not what you're doing. You're doing a small version. I make it as easy and simple as possible. Feel free to reference it when you're working on those response paragraphs. as always, if you have any questions, please let me know. Reach out to me ASAP, and I'll be glad to walk you through that process. So, overview, general, it needs to be at least 3 paragraphs. One for your introduction, at least one where you respond to my questions, and one where you reflect on the case itself. Those are the instructions for every case study, all 10 of them. Now, let's look at case study 1 so you can see what it's going to look like. So, I've linked the original instructions here as well if you really are looking for it. But here we have, this is the first case study response. The questions I'm asking are very easy and straightforward. I'm not asking you world-shattering difficult questions. So, after giving me the introduction about the overview of the case, I'm asking you to address these things in your response. And yes, I know that some of these are similar to what you will talk about in the intro, but I'm trying to get you used to finding that information. So what crime was committed by the defendant according to the court? What were the appeals, were the appeals appropriate for the crimes proven? Those are important words chosen. Were the appeals appropriate for the crimes proven? Not what they were charged with, what they were proven and found guilty for. What type of case are you examining? And I'm not asking criminal or civil, these are all criminal cases, but what exactly is the purpose of this case? I'll give you a hint. The answer is in one of the previous questions. And what was the outcome of this case in particular? Okay? Those are the questions I'm asking you to address for this case alone. Now, here, in the instructions, this is hyperlinked to the actual case study document. This is from Google Scholar. And so we have Domingo T. Robles, the defendant, versus the state of Indiana. And this is what the document looks like. So remember, these are judicial opinions. And look, the opinion of Judge Brooke. We already have some names. We know our individual who is being charged. We have the judge. We have attorneys listed for both the defendant and for the state. And then we have things like this. So we have case summary, where we get a very brief overview of what is the case at hand, some issues that were brought up in this particular instant, and then we have some facts and procedural history, basically the rundown of everything that happened that led to this individual's arrest, and then discussion and decision, where they go over all the evidence that was presented for the case, and then specifically what their decision for each one, and then a list of citations, which aren't super relevant for you at this exact moment, but this is what I'm asking you to look at. This is a fairly short one, okay? So read through it, read carefully, and I urge you to keep a notebook or something with you as you read through them, because you'll need to answer these questions, and it's just going to be the easiest way to do that. Now, you can type this up as a Word document, you can type it up and save it as a PDF, or you can submit it by typing in the text box for this actual assignment. All 3 options are valid. It's a matter of what you want to do, okay? But I will accept it in any of those 3 styles. But that's the case study response. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy. I try to make them as straightforward as possible, but it's important that you are reading through these. There's a lot of details in them. So take it step by step. Like I said, if you have questions, please reach out to me. I can't give you the answer because that's doing it for you, but I can help point you in the right direction and help make sure that you are understanding it correctly. All right, that's it for this. I hope this helped answer some questions. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.